So element 1 has been embedded on course sites already, and we've moved now into element 2 for week 2, work within the vet policy framework. So we have actually covered this under TAE DES 402A, so week 1's unit, in performance criterion 1.3. This is when we did the staff induction, and this talked about the different vet policies. Now, you would be following along with your unit of competency, the design and develop learning program. So you'll see as you're following 2.1 for performance criterion that vet policies is italicized and bold, which means we go to the range statement. And we can define the vocational education and training policies may include the National Quality Council policies and procedures. They also talk there about AQTF, and we looked last week at some more updated information since then with the legislation, with ASQA, with VQF, and also other relevant policies being your registered training organisations policies. And we presented the policies around quality assurance in our staff induction. So there's no need to repeat that. If you actually need that, you can go back to the Blackboard course sites under week 1, just select it there. And that was actually within the webcast tutorial. So if you would go in there and play, say, about the last 20 minutes of that webcast, that was a recorded lecture on the staff induction. So we'll just move on. And this little recording is mainly going to be around 2.2, identifying changes to training packages and accredited courses and apply these to the program development. Now, we have to go to training.gov.au, and you can actually, if you were to go to TAE 40110, which is our Certificate 4 in Training Assessment, you can see mapping information, and this talks about superseded or previous version. So this used to be the old code, and what we need to do to identify changes is, as soon as you're training in a package, you need to go into that training package and click Notify Me of Changes, enter a current email address and password, an email that you know that you will be using on an ongoing basis, because you will be notified by email by training.gov.au of any upcoming changes. And you have 18 months notice, effectively, to make those changes and train in those. So your RTO would have plenty of professional development that you can access, and also the training provider will release mapping information. Now if I just go back to page 1, you'll see that IBSA is the training provider for the TAE and also had been for the TAA, so they provide mapping information. And I'll just whiz forward there because the Certificate 4 information starts about page 9, and they will give you lots of information. This particular one, even though it's still called the same, TAE, Contribute to Assessment, is the same title as Contribute to Assessment under TAA, but it's been a completely rewritten unit. So you would work with a lot of people, you would have access to a lot of learning resources as well, and you would create that. I will talk about some learning resources such as Flexible Toolbox a little bit later on in this series of lectures. You can see that it was also previously a BSZ, and much earlier on, and this is when I did it over 20 years ago, it was called Train the Trainer. So that's taking me way back. I'm sure I could even find a really browned document that was the original vet style of training in the workplace. That's just a copy of what didn't come out very clearly, but that's why I brought that up again. Now 2.3 in this element we've talked about clustering, about not repeating. So go back again to week 1's 1.3 where we did the staff induction about quality assurance, and all of that information's there. Quick recap though, we do client surveys annually, we do AVIT-MIS annual data reporting annually, and depending on the risk level of the RTO, ASQA can audit every year, every 3 years, or every 5 years. I've also given you a little snapshot down there to show you where it linked to performance criterion 1.3. So 2.3 and 2.1 were done last week, and this element was really about showing you how to get onto training.gov.au and make sure you were notified of any changes, and that you've got 18 months to do that, and that you'll be provided mapping documentation from your provider with access to resources.